Good morning. Good morning. We have got an absolutely gorgeous sunrise this morning up here in Jonesboro, and this will be one of the last ones here at the golf course. We'll be moving tomorrow, and so really tomorrow morning will be the last one that I do here. So God's given some good little goodbye presents with really fantastic weather. It's not that cold for December in Arkansas, and at the same time too, just an absolutely gorgeous sunrise. So I'm going to just keep it pointed on that today, because that's a whole lot better looking than my mug. But you know, today I was reading through Romans 8, and it talked about how ultimately several things. I mean, that's a really rich chapter of Romans, but talked about that. What part to even start with? I guess I'll start at the end and work backwards, because I'm a little bit dyslexic. But talked about that what can separate us from the love of God, and it talked about that tribulation cannot, persecution, and it listed off all of these different things that cannot separate us from the love of God. And so and Paul, if you've ever heard of Paul, looked at Paul's life, he was a man that was just absolutely persecuted to an extreme amount, and probably more documented his persecution in the New Testament than anybody else's. Not that the others didn't, but his was just really well documented inside the Bible. And man, he absolutely went through it, but at the same time, he never was separated from that love of God. And we can be separated from the love of any human being on this earth, no matter how pure that love is, whether that's for your spouse, whether that's for your kids, whether that's for your family, your friends. Any of those loves can be separated here on this earth, whether that's through divorce, whether that's through the ending of a friendship, whether that's through death. There's many different ways that we can lose that, and you know, and it can be incredibly sad, but there is one love that we cannot be separated from, and that's God's love. And so I hope that you will grasp onto that today, and grasp onto God's love, and remember that that is the one that you can't lose. And speaking of that, of losing, this was specifically not in there, but it's kind of ties in Romans 8:28 that God has good things planned for us. And makes me think that there's misconceptions in that, you know, that if we're in Christ, that there's things that we can't lose. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that you can't lose your mind. And I can testify that that is a load of crap. You can absolutely have your mind taken many times over. You can lose your physical body. You can lose your mind. You can lose your heart. You can lose all that, whether that's, and to term it differently, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, all those things can be taken away at any time. And the only thing that cannot, in my opinion at least, and biblically I think that this is supported, would be you cannot lose your soul if you've already given it to Jesus. And that's the only reason why, is you cannot lose what you're not in possession of. And so I hope that you make that decision today, if you haven't already, to give your soul to Jesus. It's been the best decision that I've made, and it's the reason why I'm able to be hopeful and happy and optimistic in the midst of my darkest days and darkest hours. There is a joy inside of my heart that cannot be described or accounted for any other reason. And so I hope that you tap into that today, and I hope that you have an absolutely blessed and fantastic day. Thank you for joining me this morning on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday morning.